here before I spill it all over myself. Okay. Oh, I forgot the book. Okay. Hi everybody, it's Ashley and this is Asher Books. A long time, no chat. It has been a few years since I've made a video and I didn't really want to come back with a video without at least mentioning kind of, you know, where I've been because I feel like that would be weird, but I also didn't really want to make a whole video on it. So I figured I'd just plop it in here. Just kind of bear with me at the beginning, but hi, hello. How are we doing? There isn't really a crazy explanation or anything like that, or a crazy reason, I guess, for being off of the booktube. It was more just a couple of little things that just kind of piled up. You know, one reason was time, to be honest. Work was really busy, really crazy, and then over the past 2 years, I've also started a second job, which I really love, but it's just taken up a lot of time. And it kind of came down to, okay, I have time for reading, or I have time to like make the video and like plan the video and do the content, things like that. And I picked the reading because it's my favorite thing. I love reading. And then the other part of it was I just felt like I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I wasn't really enjoying making videos and I felt really kind of burnt out, uninspired, and it was becoming one of those tasks that you just like put on your to-do list and you're like, check that off for the week, we're good. And it's a hobby, and I always said I wanted it to be fun. The kind of minute it stopped being fun, I had to really reconsider. So that's kind of the reason. Nothing crazy, nothing dramatic, that was it. But I will say it's kind of like, you know, when you put off something like going to the dentist or going to the doctor or something like that, and then the longer you put it off, the harder it is to come back. I feel like that was kind of the case with this. I did briefly consider making a video last spring and I just never did. I also felt really like I didn't want to commit to something and then have to kind of backpedal and not be able to create the content or the videos. And, you know, I didn't want to do that. But just in the past couple of weeks, I've really like found the urge to want to chat about books again and make a video. And I've really missed talking and chatting and hearing people's opinions. And I've definitely still been active on Instagram. So I've loved getting to talk to people and interact over there, but it's just different in video format. You kind of get to express all of your feelings or emotions. And I figured, what the heck? I'm gonna make the video. I'm gonna come back with a good old-fashioned wrap up because I read some really good books in February and I really want to talk about them, and we're just gonna go with the flow. It might be a video a week, there might be a few weeks I'm not here if I'm busy or I'm not able to do it, and hopefully that's okay. I also did want to say thank you so much to anybody who messaged me on Instagram or here on YouTube asking, you know, are you gonna have video, or like, we missed your videos. That was the most kind thing, and really it brought like so much like happiness. I did feel bad when I had to say no, not right now, but I never said never. You know, I think it was always just when I felt the desire again, and kind of the inclination to want to make some more video content. But I really do appreciate anybody who kind of reached out or said hey, or, you know, came and chatted on Instagram. So that kind of segues me nicely into the next part, which is the wrap up. I obviously cannot chat through everything that I've read over the past 2 years. So if you do want to see more of that, you can definitely check out my Instagram. I'll put that down below because I was pretty good at putting a lot of that on there, or I'll link my Goodreads because typically I'm pretty good about keeping up with my Goodreads and putting everything on there. So all that to say, I'm gonna do my February wrap up, and I read 8 books in February. Some of them were really, really solid favorites, so I'm excited to talk about them now. First book I read was A Treacherous Curse by Deanna Raybourn. This is the 3rd book in the Veronica Speedwell series, which is kind of a Victorian mystery slash romance series. I became obsessed with these in January and then into February. I read the first 3 books, this is the 3rd one, in like 5 days. Could not stop, would not stop. I did stop because I had to kind of pump the brakes because I was gonna go through them in like nothing, and I wanted to savor them. So I listened to this one on audiobook. The audiobooks for this series are phenomenal, really good. I love this series. So this follows our main character, Veronica Speedwell. Basically, she's a explorer, and she's a butterfly catcher. I cannot remember the actual scientific name for it, so forgive me. But it's about her, and it's Victorian London. She's very much so a rebel. She does not kind of do the things that most Victorian women do, and each book kind of centers around a different mystery, so it's very kind of episodic in that way, but there are underlying plot lines as well that run throughout. And I've never really been a big mystery reader, mostly because I can't do anything scary, but these are almost like a mix between like a cozy mystery set in Victorian England, and then the romance comes in because there's her kind of partner called Stoker. And Stoker, there's a lot that goes on with Stoker. I feel like trying to explain him is hard because he's got a really big backstory, and you kind of find that out. And this is book 3, so I can't really say much because I don't want to spoil things. But basically, it's a mystery. There's so much sexual tension between Veronica and Stoker. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a slow burn. I mean, I'm on book 3, and we have not gotten anything like romantic, but we have gotten the tension to end all tensions. The next book I read was Flawless by Elsie Silver. I had to. So many of my friends love Elsie Silver and have been telling me I need to read her for literal years now, but especially with this newest series that came out, I think everybody is loving, and for a good reason. This is the first book in that new series, and that's the only one I've read so far, and I really liked it. Elsie Silver is a beautiful writer. Really loved her writing in this. This follows a bull rider, which I didn't think I'd be into, but it's a thing, and I am fully behind it. And it's about him, who's our hero. He's very cocky, very self-assured, as I feel like you have to be cocky to get on a bull for a living, because otherwise, like, you would not do that. And then our heroine she works for her dad, and her dad basically is his, what's the word? Like manager, like social media manager type of thing. And he sends his daughter to basically watch our hero kind of babysit a bit, because he's done many things that are getting himself in trouble. And it's forced proximity because she has to live with him at his house. It's a small town. It's really great family. I loved the family. I see the hype. I get the hype. I gave it 5 stars. I'm on board. Got Heartless downloaded. I just need to read it. So hopefully that's something I can read soon. The book I read was Consider Me by Becca Mack. I bought the hardback for this because the cover was just really pretty, and for some reason the blue really spoke to me, so I bought it. This is another one that actually my friend Christina told me to read, and obviously it was funny, as soon as she told me to read it, I felt like I kept seeing it popping up all over the book world, you know, Instagram, BookTube. I don't really do much TikTok, but I'm sure it's there too. And I really, really liked it. So this book it's a hockey romance, and it follows Carter Beckett, who is like the captain of the hockey team. This book is funny. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with this book. I really liked it. It was such a good time. But I can see why this book would not be for everybody, because our hero, Carter, while he is cocky, he's also just like, I saw someone describe him as a Labrador Retriever. Yes, absolutely. Which I didn't mind, but a lot of the kind of antics and kind of language and definitely humor are over the top in this book, okay? Like, over the top. And I thought it worked well in some aspects in this book, because our heroine, which, you know, I don't remember her name. What's her name? So our heroine is she's kind of related to the team because she's the best friend of one of the girlfriends of the team members. So she gets invited to this birthday party where she meets Carter, but she is a physical education teacher. She's very down to earth. She has had, you know, tragedy in her past. You know, she's lost people in her past. And I think the humor in this one worked for me because I don't know, I felt like our heroine kind of grounded Carter. And the thing with this that I loved is that Carter is amazing book boyfriend, okay? He might be kind of over the top and outrageous, but he loves our heroine, and he would do anything for her. He is like one of those people that's kind of a man whore, he's a man whore, but then like once he finds his person, he's all in, and it was really, really cute to see. I gave this 4.5. There were just certain things that didn't make it a complete 5-star for me. You know, some of that was just the outrageousness of some of it. It's kind of like, you know, when you watch like reality TV and you're like, that would not actually happen. That's kind of how this was. Like, you're watching this friend group, but I did love the friend group. That's the thing. They introduced you to the whole hockey team, and so many of the guys were so sweet and just like funny. But so yeah, gave this 4.5 stars, really liked it. And I did read the second book. So the second book was called Play With Me, and I gave this one 4 stars. This follows another one of the hockey teammates, Garrett, and then it follows Carter's sister from the first book, and it's their love story. Now, I have to tell you, the reason this one didn't completely work for me, I mean, I say that, I still give it 4 stars because the longer I got in the book, the more I really did like it. But it starts off with Garrett and the heroine, which, what is her name? I am still horrible with names. Nothing's changed on that front. So that's why I usually will say hero and heroine, because I literally can't remember. So obviously it's Carter's little sister, so she's like off limits to the team. But she is a dancer and she's finishing school, and obviously he's on the hockey team, but they've known each other for a while and they just totally butt heads. I wouldn't say they're like enemies to lovers, but just kind of like dislike to lovers. They start off with them being kind of in a friends with benefits situation. And here's where we come to why I gave it 4 stars and not 5. There was like really 3 things. One being, I don't love that trope when it's friends to benefits and then it becomes more, because it's so predictable. Like, it's not gonna just stay friends to benefits. It's going to have many problems. They're gonna fall in love. There's gonna get feelings attached. No one's really shocked when that happens. And I just felt like this one, that was number 1. I didn't love that. I knew that going in, but I still wanted to give it a shot. And then number 2 was the other trope that is a hard sell for me is brother's best friend. It's just not my favorite trope, mostly because you get to that part in the book where, you know, every single time you're like, oh, are we going to tell the brother? Obviously they're all worried that the brother is going to like lose his marbles when he finds out that the sister is with the best friend, and there's all this drama. And like, I've seen it done really well where they don't have that happen and the brother finds out really early, and whether there's a confrontation or not, he finds out early and they kind of deal with it during the book. Okay, I don't want to spoil this. So once I put the book down, if you don't want to be spoiled, just maybe mute this until the book's gone. But as per usual with this trope, you know, they kept putting off telling the brother. They even get to the point where they're like, I think I really love this person. Like, I think we want to try actually being together. And they still don't tell the brother. And then, oh, shocker, guess what? Carter finds out on accident, catches them like making out. And then there's like this huge blow up, and it honestly painted Carter, who we love from the first book, in kind of a bad light because he completely overreacts. And I don't know, I just think between those 2 tropes, it was gonna be a harder sell for me. And then the third reason really was that, like I said, in the first book, I felt like the humor, over the top antics kind of worked because of the hero. Carter is just that personality, and it worked because I think her name was Olivia, right? The heroine really grounded him and grounded the book. This one, I feel like both Garrett and the heroine were just both over the top, and it just didn't work as well. So I definitely still really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star for me, maybe like a 3.5 if I'm being honest, but it was still enjoyable. And I am very invested in the other teammate getting his story. What was his name? Was it Adam? The one who got cheated on with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend cheated on him in the first book. He is perfect. Like, I am so excited to see his book. So excited. So definitely still going to continue. But this one just didn't completely work for me. And then I did a reread, and that was From Luca with Love by Mariana Zapata. I have no idea why I picked this up for a reread. I just had the desire and picked it up, and I actually ended up buying it because I didn't own this one before, but they have it at Barnes & Noble, which was really cool. I had it on my Kindle before, and I love this book. It's one of my favorite Mariana Zapata books, and it was cool because I actually, when I reread it, upped my rating. Originally, I gave this 4 stars, and when I reread it, I upped it to 5 stars, and I love when that happens instead of the opposite where you like might lower a rating. So if you don't know, this book is a figure skating romance, which is why it's like my perfect storm, because I love figure skating. I love romance, so obviously you put the two together, perfect. But this follows Jasmine Santos, and she is a figure skater who just cannot catch a break. She's been training for a really long time. I believe she's like 25, 26 at this point, so kind of seen as a bit of a like washed up skater. She's still training to a little bit, like she still does her skating, but she's having to work other jobs, and she lost her partner because her partner was a complete douche. And so it's been a couple years since she's competed, and she just feels like she can't do anything right. Like she's not good enough, and she's at the point where she's like, do I give up this dream of figure skating professionally, winning something? And then you have Ivan Lukov, who's like the hottest thing on ice, and he also trains at the same facility. His family owns the facility, and Jasmine's friends with Ivan because she's best friends with his sister and has been for years. And I will say, this is, to me, is a true hate to love. These two, if it's not hate, it's a strong dislike, okay? They really do, but they like to just pick at each other. Like, you know, it's like a scab. They just like pick. And it's like they enjoy that back and forth. So the book starts with the two of them, and they actually, so Ivan is a pair skater, and he's won many, many awards, very like gold medals, worlds, nationals, all that jazz, but he needs a new partner. And out of the blue, he and his coach ask Jasmine to partner with him, and she is completely caught off guard. She's like, why would I ever partner with you? Like, is this a joke? Are you playing a trick on me? What is going on? And that's where the book takes off. Now, I want to say, for all my people out there who really don't like a slow burn, don't read this book. I gave it 5 stars. I love this. But this is probably the most slow burn book I have ever read. I mean, ever. It's, how many pages is this? Hold on. It's like over 500 pages. And it takes till the darn end before they get together, like romantically. But it's so much about the development of the characters. You see Jasmine go through so much with her family, who's a big part of this. Ivan, you really find his backstory, and it's so much character growth and development, and the whole figure skating world that I ate up like candy and really loved. And I love seeing them come together as friends and really united front before they became lovers. But I just know some people are gonna read this and then be like yelling at me because they're like, why aren't they together? So just know it's a super, super slow burn, but I love it. It's so good. So good. The next one I read was The Red Herring by Kalia Reed. And I have to be honest, I was so excited about this book. So this is book 3 in the Belgrave, is it called the Belgrave Dynasty? So it's the spin-off. So Kalia Reed's original series was called, hold on, The Surviving Trace. Her original series was called The Surviving Trace series, I think, or Surviving Time. Loved. I think it's 3 books. Fantastic. And then there's this trilogy that's, well, so far, and it had the first book, which was King of the South, that follows one couple, and then you had the first with this duology. I know this is getting complicated, just stick with me. That was called Lady Gouldian, and that followed Asa and Natalie, and then it left on a cliffhanger. So really all you need to know is that you can't read this book by itself. You have to read Lady Gouldian before it, because that's where Natalie and Asa's story starts. So this is a historical romance. It's set in South Carolina in, I think it's like the early 1900s. So it's like 1910-ish. I want to say it's early 1900s. And I love the setting. I love the time period. I think it's really cool. Like I said, her first trilogy is one of my absolute favorites. That one has time travel in it. So very cool. This one does not. But I've loved Natalie and Asa. You've seen them kind of simmering in the background throughout a lot of the past books. So when we got to Lady Gouldian, I was like so excited. And I gave that one 4 stars because it leaves off on such a cliffhanger. And it's like emotional pain. When I tell you, I was just like gut punched by the end of that first book. I was. And then there was quite a bit of time between, which is totally fine. I know authors, you know, have personal lives and things come up and happen. And obviously I understand that. But I was so excited to get this one, which is the red herring, which is the conclusion of Nat and Asa's story. And I can't really say much about it, but I'll kind of briefly say why I was a little bit disappointed in this book. And I gave it 4 stars. It's still a great book. Kelly Reid's writing is beautiful. I really would recommend any of her books because I think she's a really fun writer and really different in the historical romance kind of genre. Different time period, different setting, that kind of thing. But I felt like because there had been so much build up for these characters, I don't mind angst if it's worth it, like if there's a payoff, if that makes sense. But for Nat and Asa, I felt like this one had so much drama as well, and there wasn't enough payoff. Now, don't get me wrong, there was an HEA, like we got our happily ever after, and I was super happy with that. I just felt like I needed more time with them. Like maybe if the book had been a little bit longer or a little bit of the angst and drama had been taken out, I would have maybe liked it a little better. Again, I don't not like this book. It's just, I think when my expectations were so high and it was a couple that I've been like rooting for like books and books that it didn't quite stick the landing. And I would really have liked it too a little bit more, but otherwise I give it a 4 star. The next book I read was A Momentary Marriage, and this is another historical romance, and I listened to this one on audiobook. I realized I didn't say how I read these, but I'll try to going forward make sure I say like what format, but I listened to this one, and this was one that I heard recommended on somebody's channel. Hold on. I think it was Jen from the Book Refuge, which I have to admit, I love watching videos, and I still watch a lot of BookTube even when I wasn't making any, but I am the worst at commenting. I will admit it. It's a flaw. Mostly because I watch it on my TV a lot and you can't comment on there and then I forget to go back and blah, blah, blah. But all that to say, she recommended this book. I'm pretty sure it was her in one of her videos. And I just automatically loved the plot line of it. So I automatically downloaded it and listened to it. And this was a 4 star for me. So this follows our our hero who basically thinks he's dying. So he's sick. They don't know exactly what it is, but they know he's not doing well. And he basically expects to die like relatively soon. And he's young. He's like in his early 30s, I think. And then our heroine comes in because he's going to die. He does not really want to leave all of his fortune and money to his family because there's a lot of backstory there and things aren't all peachy keen over there. So he knows our heroine, and sees her again, and he decides, hey, if you marry me, kind of a marriage of convenience, I'm gonna die soon and you don't have to mess with me anymore, but you can kind of get out of this circumstance. Her father has passed away, he was a doctor, and kind of has left her with debt and not much to live on. Obviously at that time, women kind of needed an income of some kind. So he's like, marry me, I'll be gone soon, and then you're good to go. However, spoiler alert, but it's not really a spoiler. I think this is on the back of the book, which is he does not die. They figure out something. It's a big thing. I'm not going to say what, but he doesn't die. And then they have to kind of figure out what the heck to do because they didn't expect to actually stay married and have an actual marriage. And I eat that crap up. I love Marriage of Convenience, and it was really good. You also had them working together to basically figure out what was happening. I'm not going to say again how. I'm trying not to spoil this here, but there is like a mystery involved in the book as well. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. There wasn't that oomph factor that made it a full 5 stars for me. I did listen to it. Sometimes I will say I love audiobooks, but occasionally I won't like completely connect with the characters, and I felt like maybe that was the case here. I just wanted a little something extra that would have made it 5, but still super enjoyable. And this is by Candace Camp. I don't know if I said that, but I've read a few of her other books and really like those as well. She has a really kind of fun, almost like lighthearted way of writing her characters, and I really liked it. And the last book, I apologize. I feel like I've been chatting forever. I'm gonna get back into the swing of this, just like, you know, work with me for a minute. But the last one I read in February was Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. This has been everywhere. It's a fantasy romance that's definitely taking the like book world by storm right now. I think it's been out a few years, but it's, you know, how things kind of go, and one person talks about it and another and another and another, and I've just seen it everywhere. So this is on AnyPlay, and so I listened to the audiobook for this. Also AnyPlay, really cool. So if you don't have that, it's a subscription for audiobooks, but it's like $10 a month, and you can listen to anything that's on there, unlimited, and they have a lot of really good books, so maybe look into that. But anyways, Daughter of No World, I feel like a lot of people know what this is about, but if you don't, this is basically about our heroine, Tisana, who is taken by slavers when she's a child from her village, and she grows up that way as a slave for, I think it's like 10 years, or maybe longer actually. It might be 15, a long time. And she deals with some just horrendous things, but she's always known she's gonna get out. She's gonna make it. She's gonna pay her off. Her, I guess you look like master, has said that she can, if she gets him this amount of money from dancing and doing other things to make the money, that he will give her freedom. So at the beginning of the book, she finally gets together this amount of money, which was a crazy number. Like, he never really thought she would get this much money, but she does. And she goes to him and is like, hey, I want my freedom. You said I could have my freedom. I want to leave. And I mean, he's a horrible human. So is anyone super shocked that he's like, no, you can't do that? And that kind of sets off the rest of the book. I know it's kind of brief, but that's kind of where it all just like steamrolls for the rest of the book. I did want to mention our hero kind of in this, because it is a fantasy romance, and it follows Max, or Maximus. He has a really long name, but we're gonna call him Max because I can't say it. Basically through circumstances, meets Max. She does get free, and he is kind of this like crotchety, grumpy, he's not old, he's like young, but he's had a lot of things happen to him in his past, and he's just kind of over life, lives in a small cottage, wants nothing to do with humans or interactions or anything like that. And through events, he has to train her and help her figure out this magic that she has and things like that. And it kind of goes from there. I will say, I do think this is a book you kind of should go in not knowing a ton. That's about what I told you. That's about what I knew from listening to other people. And I think that's enough. Like, I don't think this is when you need to know like every detail to get the most out of it. But I really, really liked it. It had a really cool magic in it. It had action. I loved Tisana. She was, there's also a language barrier, which is always interesting in a book between Max and Tisana that they have to kind of figure out. It's really witty. There's a lot of witty dialogue. I also think it had a really good balance between romance and fantasy. I heard a lot of people say that, and that's what drew me into it, because that can kind of tip one way or the other. And I love fantasy romance, but it is tricky to find ones that are like equal. And it was really, really good. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It's one of those, I gave 4 stars, and the more you kind of think about it and talk about it, it might be more like a 4.55 stars. I think I'm going to hold off. I think it's like a 4.5, but I don't know. I'm kind of like, I think the next book in the series might be like a 5-star. I'm sitting there in the middle right now, but super enjoyable. Definitely am going to plan on reading books 2 and 3. It's in a trilogy in March. So hopefully I will finish that in March and can report back. But I've seen nothing but good things about this series. Like literally, I don't think I've seen anyone talk negatively about it. So I'm super excited to have a new fantasy romance author to read. Thank you for sticking with me through that really long ramble. I feel like I'm not super in the zone of trying to like condensedly talk about books. So just stick with me while I kind of figure this back out. But yeah, thank you for listening. I'm excited to make some videos again. I'm excited to chat. If you hung around, thank you. If you're new, hi. I'd love it if you drop me a comment below, just anything you want to say, or maybe tell me your favorite book for February. Have you read any of these? I'd really love to know. And I will see you soon.